How's it going, everyone? I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I know a lot of us are going to be bitterly disappointed that Fraser Anning is no longer in Parliament. It's unfortunate, however, not all is lost because we did dodge a communist bullet. I did say before the election that I didn't really care who won this one. It was either decline slow or decline fast. But I am now relieved that we don't have a communist alliance of Bill Shorten and Dick DiNatale destroying our country and taking away our freedom of speech. So essentially we have another 3 years to work really, really hard and continue to grow this nationalist movement and our community and wake people up to what is actually going on and let people know that we are being demographically replaced. That being said, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with this video and just laugh at a bit of the leftist tears going down. I haven't made a video in a few days because I have been very busy with other things, but here we go. Let's get straight into it right now. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Matty Rose Live and tune in to my weekly live stream with editor of the XYZ, David Hiscox, where we discuss all the biggest news of the week. We go live every Monday at about 9:15 Australian Eastern Time. Can't wait to see you there. Link in the description. Crying leftists spit hate at Queensland after election loss. Oh, there they are, crying. Poor old Shorten. Good old ScoMo. Laughing. This is at the Unshackled, by the way, by the defector, Lucas Rosas. No hard feelings. You still do fantastic work for our people. I will be linking this article in the description so you can go and read all of it, but just have a look. Queensland, you inbred Fs. What the hell? Queensland can get F'd. They all hate Queensland. They're continually going down. F you, Queensland, bloody rednecks. It just keeps going on. This is only a select portion of it as well. If you go to Twitter and you put in these hashtags, Ausvotes, Quexit, Auspol, you just get more and more of this rubbish. It's hilarious. A couple of really good ones down here. We demand Quexit, cut them loose, and they cut Queensland off. Oh, it's just brilliant. The meltdown is fantastic. Another one here, he's just sort of painted out. He could have done a better job. I mean, you can just draw lines down there straight when you're on paint. I mean, come on, mate. You can do much better than that. That's just laziness, really. Daniel Reardon by Queensland. Racist! Shathole! Whatever that is. And this is a good little tweet here from Hot Pumpkin Man. Queensland, home of the paranoid, scared, ignorant, racist, greedy, coal-loving, stupid people. You vote for people who steal your wages. Vote for gun-toting racist. Actually, it says gun-totting there. Worry about coal jobs. We'll never buy anything connected to the banana head state again. Loose jobs, hope. So, damn you, Queenslanders, for wanting to keep your jobs and actually support your families and have a decent standard of living. You horrible, horrible people. How could you? Again, I'll link to this article in the description. You can go read it. But let's have a look at this one here from The Guardian. It's not you, Bill. It's the country. Oh no, from Bridget Delaney. Yet another washed up middle-aged white woman who wants to spew hatred at the rest of the world because what else has she got, I guess? Shorten says he did his best and tried his hardest, and someone shouts out from the crowd, it's not you, Bill, it's the country. It's the country! It's not Morrison, it's not Liberals, it's not the policies, it's not Queensland, it's not Dutton. It's the country that's rotten. Actually, what's rotten is the soul of the left and their disgusting bigotry towards anyone who dares to disagree with them. Yes, the country is divided. It's extremely divided, but it is her side of politics that is the rotten side. Everyone else is doing their best to make it a lot less rotten. Through the night, texts came in from people I know echoing the sentiment. Their fury was not with the Liberals, but with Australia, that their fellow citizens had chosen their investment properties over climate action. In other words, the Australian people have chosen to raise their families, have a decent standard of living instead of her cultish religious beliefs. You poor thing. You poor thing, leftists. How could Australians possibly do that? It must hurt so much. One point about this, it does show you exactly how people are when it comes to climate change. Even if some people might say that they believe in it, when push comes to shove, they won't ever pay for it. It's the same dynamic when you tell a leftist who is yelling at you to bring in more refugees, that they want refugees. If you then ask them how many refugees live in your home, you will invariably get an answer along these lines: shut up, racist. Or if you happen to have a refugee with you and you say, would you like to take this refugee home with you? Now, suddenly they don't want to actually take refugees home. See, with the left, it's all about virtue signaling. When it comes to actual action and real cost, well, that's when they tend to really not give a shit. And of course, there has been a blue check mark meltdown on Twitter. So let's have a look from Australia's ugliest communist. Well, Clementine Ford's pretty ugly, but let's just call her Van Bad Ham. She actually went on a massive Twitter rant storm about Cambridge Analytica style research in Queensland. Talking about demographics and all that kind of thing, failing to see the irony of how important demographics actually are. Essentially admitting that the left need to replace white people if they want to win elections. But anyway, she said, a big congratulations to the organisers of the fake news campaign. I hope winning another 3 years of government to squander on your own pettiness was worth consequences like these to ordinary people. Of course they were. Right? She's retweeting this leftist here. Oh, diddums. Fake news campaign. Give me a break. The entire climate change nonsense is entirely fake news. It's all complete and utter rubbish. Meshul Laurie, who I believe is a project panelist, said Australians are dumb, mean-spirited and greedy. Accept it. Funny because that tweet is extremely dumb, mean-spirited. And if you look at her, you'll see she's pretty damn greedy. Wayne Swanhole, otherwise known as Swandive, Australia's worst ever treasurer. Whatever mistakes Labor made, we know democracy is under threat when an individual can spend $60 million with a revolving preference deal to steal an election, and it happened. Which is bullcrap, because the Liberal Party got 42% of the primary vote, and it was probably One Nation preferences. It helped more to get them over the line, and obviously preferences from the other vote. And it's also funny, the left complaining about democracy being under threat when the biggest threat to democracy is always parasitism, in that a parasite class, a government parasite class, take money from the productive members of the community and hand it to voters in order to retain power. And the left, especially the ALP and the Greens, are essentially experts at that. They are exploiting that flaw in democracy to win power whenever they can. So yes, democracy is under threat, but not from the coalition or from Clive Palmer, even though he is a fool. Sleepy Giants Australian said, and so it continues. What editor at the Daily Telegraph signed off on this racist tagline about Benny Wong? Get in the bin. How did it all go wrong for Benny? It's racist. It's racist to use her name. Honk honk. Oh, Sleepy Giants. Why do people take these people seriously? They were just a joke. Stephen Neat, I know he's not verified, but it's an interesting meme here. So we got the distracted boyfriend meme, the mainstream media. Mainstream is one word, you moron. No policy, lots of lies, detailed policy. So you're seeing this meme from the left saying that, oh, we had detailed policies and the coalition, all they had was tax cuts and lower energy prices. Oh, they had no policy. But higher cost of living is of great importance to a large number of Australians. So their policies might have been scant and simple, but they were the policies that mattered, and just because your policies are detailed doesn't mean they are good, as is a famous quote, I believe, from Einstein: any moron can make something simple more complicated, but it takes true genius to make something complex more simple. So this is just essentially proving that the left are idiots and they don't understand how reality actually works. Left this one again, not verified, but it was an interesting point I wanted to bring up. So she said the Greens, 10% of the national vote equals 1 seat. Nationals, 8.4% of the vote equals 23 seats. Thoughts on how we fix this problem? Most people are going to know why this is the case, but if you don't know, it's because of the way that our parliament is set up. It's in representative divisions, and the reason the Nationals only got 8.4% of the vote but won 23 seats is because they are in a coalition with the Liberal Party, and that means that they sit in a number of seats that the Liberal Party don't sit in. So people who would probably vote for the Liberals if they were there chose to vote for the Nationals instead because they were unable to vote for the Liberal Party. That's how that works. And the Greens were sitting in every seat in the country. It is no different to how UKIP won a large number of the vote a couple of elections ago, I believe it was, but won 0 seats. And something that is much more of concern is that in the Senate, 18% of people voted for parties that won 0 seats. The other vote in the lower house was about 15%, and probably in the lower house you probably get maybe, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but maybe 13 or 14% of people voted for parties that got also 0 seats. Essentially what that means is millions of people now have 0 representation in Parliament. That is taxation without representation, assuming that these are taxpayers. That is a much, much more serious problem. Sure, the Greens got 10% of the vote and only 1 seat in the lower house, only won a seat in the lower house, that is, but they won 9 seats in the Senate. There are now millions of people, as I just said, who have absolutely no representation in the Parliament at all. And I'm one of them. Where's my representation? If you don't think that that is a very, very serious problem, well, I would suggest you go and have a look at history, particularly the history of the United States of America. Pigantine Pig said, the planet is dying and intolerance is being enthusiastically embraced by bigots the nation over. But, thank God, the self-funded retirees got to keep their rich people welfare. Hashtag Aussie. Just leave that there without comment. Pigantine Pig is a pig. Jane Carrow said, so much fun to wake to messages telling me that I am an absolute biatch. Who should leave the country? I guess this is Australia right now, like so many others. I despair. Trump, Brexit, ScoMo, while the planet disintegrates. Funny how she ignores the fact that a One Nation volunteer was attacked in Anne Ali's electorate, physically assaulted by a family of Muslims. A One Nation car was set on fire, and a Tony Abbott supporter was stabbed in the gut with a corkscrew. But I guess people selling you mean words on Twitter is a much bigger problem than leftist violence encouraged by the media. Yasmin Abdel Magid, elections results like Australia, Brexit in the US make it difficult to pass the world we live in. I'm not berated by people every time I walk down a street in any country really, but then one wonders what those people are thinking. Well, I would imagine they're probably thinking a little bit more than Yasmin Abdel Magid. Seems like she wants to make thought crime illegal here. Oh no, what are these people thinking? I'll bet they're thinking racist. Thoughts. Very glad she's no longer in the country. This person is a toxic individual with nothing to add. And finally, an old school deranged Lefty. Fuck! 50 years ago, Labour lost the 1969 Don's Party election. History repeats itself. First is tragedy, then it's farce. Well, diddums, Mike. You lost, and I'm very glad that the left have hated this election loss. It makes the loss of Fraser Anning a lot more bearable. It actually makes me think, well, at least we got to see that. It's fantastic. And here's hoping that Scott Morrison makes good on his election promise to cut taxes and potentially build some coal-fired power plants in order to lower the cost of living to ordinary Australians and potentially bring back some manufacturing jobs. Hell, maybe he can open it up to even more mining and deregulate industrial relations if possible. However, he didn't make that an election promise, unfortunately. Another big unfortunate is he probably isn't going to cut our immigration enough in order to stop the demographic replacement of real Australians. However, at least we now have 3 years to continue building the nationalist community and open people's eyes up to what is actually going on, and we're not going to get put in jail for it, as Richard Di Natale so disgustingly proposed. Hope you enjoyed the video, share the truth around, and I'll see ya when I see ya.